friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am talking about moving your photography business to a new state. I have actually done it twice in the last 3 years, and I want to show you guys how I marketed my business so that I didn't lose bookings or revenue in the process of moving to a new place. Hello again, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Hope and I am a photographer serving both Charleston and Savannah, and this YouTube channel is where I share education for photographers as well as a little bit of a peek into my life living in the Low Country. And speaking of the Low Country, I am new to the Low Country because I have been in business for about 10 years now, which is crazy, but the first 7 years of my business were built in Virginia. That is where I started my business in high school. That is where I grew my business, and that is where all of my clients were. I had a storefront studio there for 3 years. I had a booked up calendar in Virginia of senior portraits and wedding clients for the entire 7 years that I lived there. So in 2019, when I decided to uproot everything and move to Charleston, South Carolina, I was really excited, but also terrified about what that meant for the marketing side of my business because I'd always been in the same place. I had never moved. I had never really thought about what that would look like. And then I built my business in Charleston only to move a year and a half later to Savannah with my fiance because life threw a curveball at me and I got engaged. So I have moved 2 times in the last, I guess, 4 years now, which it's crazy that we're in 2023. But I want to talk to you guys about the steps that I took before the move to set myself up for success in a brand new location. We're going to talk about 6 steps that I took to set myself up for success and allow my business to kind of slowly build in the place that I was moving before I even announced that I was moving, so that I was kind of behind the scenes secretly setting myself up for success. Before we dive into that, if you are a senior photographer like I am, I have a free gift for you down in the description below, and that is my free senior style guide. It's the top 5 pages that you should be including in your senior style guide. I photograph senior clients almost exclusively outside of just a handful of weddings every single year, and I have a 60+ page PDF document that I send them before their session to help them prepare for their shoot. It teaches them what to wear, what to expect, how to prep their hair and makeup, what to do if things go wrong. It covers anything that you could possibly think of. And it helps my clients to show up to their session photo ready, for me to create beautiful images and for them to look and feel their best. So in that free gift down below, you'll get to see the top 5 pages that I recommend you include and the actual visual of what those pages look like in my own senior style guide. So grab that down in the description. It's a free gift to you just to say thanks for watching. But let's dive into those 6 steps to move your photography business to a brand new location. Okay, number 1 is to find out the legal side of moving your business to a new place in terms of the licensing that you need in order to run your business in your new state. That's something that we don't talk a lot about on this channel just because it does vary greatly from state to state what the requirements are to run a small business. So what I did was, because a lot of my shoots are actually still in Charleston, South Carolina, my business license is still established in Charleston, but I have a license to operate my business here in Savannah, which is a little bit different than completely closing my business in South Carolina and reopening it in Savannah, Georgia. So I would talk to either your CPA or whoever's on your team that could maybe help you with this, or just research what these specific laws are in your state. I don't cover it in depth just because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing for the place that you live, but I started that process months before I ever announced that I was moving. I had about a 6-month runway of knowing that I had made the decision that I was going to be moving and the date that I actually moved. So these 6 steps actually happened in those 6 months to set me up for success before I even announced to the public or publicly shared in any capacity that I would be moving. So I recommend starting that process early just so you can fill out any paperwork or applications and pay any fees that are necessary to legally run your business in the new location. Step number 2, the second thing that I kind of sneakily did behind the scenes before I publicly announced my move, was that I started shifting my SEO, my search engine engine optimization to be from Virginia to Charleston. So I went into the back end of my website and my blog and started changing over things like keywords and image titles so that I would start showing up on search engines for my new location, not my old one. It takes a lot of time to build really powerful search engine optimization for a specific location, and I knew that I wanted to start that process sooner rather than later. So even if you're not 1,000% sure of where you're going to live yet, I would start the process of just slowly shifting your SEO to the location that you plan to move. This will just really help you in the long run because, again, it takes a lot of time to build up that SEO, and I would rather start earlier than later. Step number 3, the most fun part, I think, of moving to a new place is that I planned a content shoot in Charleston before I ever announced I was moving. And I keep saying before I ever announced I was moving because I really wanted to kind of have all of these things checked off and done so that I could use the content that I got from the shoot to announce the move when I was ready. So what I did is I planned 2 shoots, a full wedding styled shoot in Charleston, as well as a couple of senior sessions in Charleston so that I could travel there for a couple of days with my friends. We made it a really fun trip, but I could also get a ton of professional photos to start sharing in my website portfolio and on social media and just generally creating content in a new location. On top of that, you get the opportunity to network with local vendors and businesses if you do it strategically. So I recommend setting up those shoots at super popular, frequently searched locations in your new area. So for me, that meant that I wanted to do a shoot at Rainbow Row in Charleston, and I wanted to do a shoot at one of the really popular historical sites, and I wanted to really make sure that the content I was creating was easily searchable, that people could look it up and find those shoots, and I was being strategic about where I was doing those sessions. I also networked with as many vendors as I could. I brought on a planner and a florist, and I picked local models to be a part of the session with me. I brought on a wedding dress shop and a hair and makeup artist. You don't have to go that far if you don't want to, but I really wanted the opportunity to just get my foot in the door with vendors that I could network with and potentially work with more in the future once I actually moved to Charleston. So not only did I take those professional photos and have the professional photos to share in my portfolio and my website, but I was also really intentional about getting behind the scenes photos of me shooting that I could share, photos that I could post on Instagram, things I could share on my Instagram stories. I basically wanted to just create this content hub in my new location because I didn't want to have to keep going back and forth before the actual move. I would rather just go once, create as much content as humanly possible, visit restaurants, visit shops, take photos downtown, and have this big stockpile of content to share from leading up to the move itself. So step 3, plan a styled shoot or a content shoot in the new location that you're going to be moving to create a hub of content to help you kind of segue into the actual move. Step number 4, if you'd like to, which I always highly recommend, is to have a branding shoot done of yourself in the new location too. I found that as silly as it sounds and as almost like common sense as it sounds or like obvious as it sounds, I noticed that people on social media still associated me with Virginia and living in Fredericksburg until I started posting photos of me in Charleston. I could post as many beautiful clients and models and wedding photos in Charleston as I wanted to, but people perceived that as, oh, she traveled to Charleston for a wedding. That's awesome. But seeing photos of me in Charleston almost helped it visually click that that was where I lived now and that was the market that I served. So I wanted to have photos of myself to share in addition to my professional work so that people would really start to associate me with that new location. So again, we did iconic locations, typical Charleston places, but we did headshots of me so that when I did a big website update to announce that I was going to be moving, not only did I have portfolio images and professional photos to share from the new place, but I also had headshots of myself on Rainbow Row and at those historic sites and at all of those beautiful places that allowed my website to be cohesive and also just beautifully Charleston before I ever announced that I was moving. I kind of made that website go live at the same time that I announced that I was moving, and having those photos in that content hub just really helped it to be a fun, exciting thing for people to scroll through and see all that new content at one time. So step number 5, like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to be really strategic and intentional about networking with other businesses and vendors in my area when I did those content shoots and those styled shoots. But the other thing that I did that I think was actually one of the things that allowed my business to grow fast and grow quickly in my new location here in Charleston and Savannah was that I would go and take iPhone photos of every single thing that I was doing when I was in Charleston. So if I was traveling for those content shoots, or maybe I was traveling to go look at properties of deciding where I was going to live, every time I went out, whether it was a coffee shop, a boutique, a restaurant, anything, I was taking iPhone photos of every single place that I went. Because what we forget about other businesses as photographers is that they can't get photos of their products in their space that are really pretty unless they actually hire a photographer. So it's incredibly valuable for a boutique, for example, to have you take just a couple of iPhone photos, but edit them to be really beautiful and post them on social media and tag them. All of a sudden, you've caught their attention because you've created beautiful content for them to hopefully repost and get in front of their audience of local people that likely already live in Charleston, right? But now you've caught their attention. And if you have a favorite boutique or restaurant and you take iPhone photos each time you go and you just apply a quick edit to them to make them really pretty and match the aesthetic of your professional work, you might even catch their attention and create a relationship with them. And I was able to do that with some of my favorite restaurants here in Charleston and in Savannah, where I would go out, I would take photos of the food each time I went. Maybe I just went 2 or 3 times over the span of a couple of months, but I would edit them and tag them on my Instagram stories. They would repost those stories, and then eventually they actually reached out to me. And that's how I created a relationship with boutiques that actually hired me for shoots and restaurants that actually gifted me free meals in exchange for social media content, and then started referring me to the hotels that were owned by the same management company that started referring me for their weddings. And it's just kind of this cycle that gets started all by you taking iPhone photos of the things that you're doing and just throwing a quick edit on them. It is so easy to do, but it's so strategic and it's so smart. If you need mobile presets to help edit your photos, I'm gonna link mine in the description down below because they're brand new and they're really pretty. But just doing that is so quick, it's so easy, but it's so intentional and strategic, and it will really set you up to have awesome relationships with local businesses. And step number 6 is kind of another angle at networking with other local businesses in your area, but I would follow and interact with tons of local Charleston vendors on social media. Planners, venues, makeup artists, boutiques, restaurants. I would follow as many people as possible that I felt like had a similar ideal client and aesthetic to mine. So planners who worked with clients that looked like my ideal clients, venues that I felt like would be a good fit for my ideal customers, boutiques that maybe sold clothes that were the same kind of audience as the seniors that I wanted to photograph. And I would just genuinely interact with them on social media, like their photos, comment, respond in their Instagram stories, start conversation with them, just hopefully keep my name front of mind and have the opportunity to create a relationship with them. And then maybe that would lead to a conversation where I could offer to do updated team photos or photos of the venue or photograph the new clothes at the boutique. But it all starts with creating genuine connection just by authentically engaging with them online. So to recap those 6 steps, step number 1, find out how to legally get your business established in the place that you're moving. It greatly varies state to state, so do a little bit of research or hire somebody to help you. Step number 2, start changing over your SEO or your search engine optimization to be optimized for the place that you are going to be moving, ideally quite a few months before you actually move there. Step number 3 is to schedule a content shoot to get beautiful professional images in the new location that you'll be moving. Number 4 is to plan a branding or headshot shoot of yourself to get photos of you in your new location. Step number 5 is to take iPhone photos and share them online to network with local businesses. And step number 6 is to follow them online, engage with people authentically online, and create relationships with people that live in the place that you will be moving. I hope this was helpful. These are the 6 steps that I took in my own business to establish myself and my brand in a new place twice in 3 years. I would love to hear in the comments down below if you try any of these things and how I can help further. I share new videos every single Monday and would be so grateful to have you subscribe. Everything I mentioned in this video, including that free gift of the top 5 pages in my senior style guide, are all going to be linked below, and I will see you guys next Monday. Bye.